We need to show America that North Carolina is Trump country. You know, 4 years ago, a movement was born. A movement of everyday Americans from every walk of life. Here in North Carolina, you knew we could be strong again. You knew we could be prosperous again. You said yes to President Donald Trump in 2016, and I know in 7 short days, North Carolina is going to say yes again to President Donald Trump in 2020. But it really is great to be with all of you. And if you got a seat out there somewhere, you can find it. I got a lot on my mind today. It's great to be here with so many friends. Especially great. Well, I love North Carolina, I promise you. Thank you. It's great to be here with a man I've had the opportunity to get to know. Grew up on a cattle and chicken farm. Learned the value of hard work in his family's business, but I'm here to tell you. I want to tell the hometown folks. He has been one of the strongest advocates of this president's agenda on Capitol Hill. Would you join me in thanking your hometown Congressman, Ted Budd? Thank you, Ted. Strong conservative. Speaking of strong conservatives, it's also great to be here with a man who answered the call first in his life as a pastor, made a difference in people's lives. But he felt another call, fortunately for North Carolina and for our nation. He answered the call to public service. And I want to tell you today, he has emerged as one of the great conservative voices on Capitol Hill, a champion for our veterans, a strong America, and all the values that make this country great. Join me in thanking Congressman Mark Walker for his leadership and his support. Thank you, Mark. Well, finally, it's great to be here with a man you just heard a little bit from. He told me he was just going to introduce me for 2 minutes, and I said, you better talk longer than that. He grew up in a great family. Humble beginnings, but through hard work and determination, he achieved great success in his life in business. Went into politics. I'm told he actually started in politics as the PTA president at his daughter's high school. Now he is a great conservative voice in the United States Senate, and I'm here to say right after you vote for 4 more years of President Donald Trump, North Carolina and America need 6 more years of Senator Thom Tillis in the United States Senate. Why don't you get on your feet and show Senator Tillis how much support he's got here. And let's hear it for his wife, Susan, too. What a great family. Thank you both. So thank you all for being here. It's amazing to think how far we've come over the last 3.5 years. Thinking back 4 years ago, we inherited a military that was hollowed out by years of devastating budget cuts. An economy that was struggling to break out of the slowest recovery since the Great Depression. Terrorism was on the rise around the world, and we witnessed a steady assault on our most cherished values. But in 3 short years, I'm proud to report, we rebuilt our military. We revived our economy. We secured our border, supported law enforcement, stood for life, liberty, and the Constitution of the United States of America. And it all starts with our national defense, of which there is such a rich tradition here in the Tar Heel State. You know, when we took office, the last administration had overseen reckless budget cuts. I mean, I have to tell you, when we stepped into office, there was a large portion of aircraft in the Air Force that was being kept on the ground to be used as spare parts to keep other aircraft in the air. Budget cuts were real, and they were impacting our readiness and the ability of our troops to defend our nation. But under President Donald Trump, those days are over. This president signed the largest investment in our national defense since the days of Ronald Reagan. And as your vice president, and as the proud father of a United States Marine, I can report to you that we are finally giving our soldiers, sailors, airmen, Marines, and Coast Guard the resources and the support that they need to defend this nation. And I didn't mention my unworthy son-in-law, but he's a Navy pilot as well. I wouldn't want to leave him out. He's a wonderful guy. And it wasn't just about those who serve in the uniform today and their families. When Joe Biden was vice president, America saw years of scandal at the VA. You remember it here in North Carolina. Scandals that shocked the conscience of our nation. I mean, we literally had veterans passing away on waiting lists to get treatment at the VA. But when President Trump took office, working with these great members of the House and Senate, we passed the most sweeping reforms of the VA in 50 years. We fired more than 3,000 employees of the VA that were not giving our veterans the health care that they earned, and Veterans Choice is now available to every veteran in America. And on the economy, in our first 3 years after Joe Biden and the last administration tried to tax and spend and bail and regulate us back to a growing economy, President Donald Trump created the greatest economy in American history. It's true. It's amazing to think now, in the midst of a global pandemic, Joe Biden wants to raise taxes by $4 trillion. President Trump, we cut taxes across the board for working families and small businesses. We rolled back more federal red tape than any administration in American history. We fought for free and fair trade, unleashed American energy, and in those first 3 years, businesses large and small created 7 million good-paying jobs, including nearly 250,000 jobs right here in North Carolina. North Carolina actually saw in those first 3 years, Senator, North Carolina saw its lowest unemployment rate since the Great Recession and its highest home ownership ever. And maybe what means the most to the President and me is that wages were rising at their fastest pace in more than 10 years. And they were rising most rapidly for hardworking blue-collar Americans. The forgotten men and women of America were forgotten no more. You know, you remember when Joe Biden was vice president, America actually lost 200,000 manufacturing jobs. And the last president, who I heard is back out on the campaign trail. The last president, remember? In the summer of 2016, he said the manufacturing jobs they lost were never coming back. He asked rhetorically, "What magic wand do you have?" Well, we didn't need a magic wand. We just needed President Donald Trump in the White House. 500,000 manufacturing jobs created in our first 3 years, including 13,000 right here in the Tar Heel State. Manufacturing is back and roaring back as this economy gets back on its feet. And standing here today in the Piedmont Triad Airport, I know Greensboro is surrounded by some of the most beautiful farmland in North Carolina. You know, I grew up with a cornfield in my backyard. And my family will tell you, when our home in Columbus, Indiana, you used to be able to see 6 miles and count 18 barns. So I've never lived on a farm, but I know what agriculture means. And I couldn't be more proud to serve alongside a president who has always fought for family, farmers, and ranchers. You know, when Joe Biden was vice president, they were raising taxes on family farms. They were passing red tape that was stifling agriculture and compromising private property rights. But under President Donald Trump, we cut taxes to allow immediate expensing on all that equipment that farmers have. Anybody in agriculture knows that input costs are the biggest challenge. We allowed immediate expensing for agriculture. We eliminated the Waters of the USA regulation that was stifling and compromising private property rights, and we eliminated the death tax for nearly every family farmer in America. And so important to businesses and so important to agriculture when it comes to trade. It's amazing to think when we took office, half of our international trade deficit in this country was with one country, Communist China. And Joe Biden, he's been a cheerleader for Communist China all along the way. He actually said that the rise of China was a positive development. And last year when he was running for president, he actually scoffed at the idea that China was even a competitor of the United States. Good question. But under President Donald Trump, we put China on notice. We said the era of economic surrender is over. We imposed tariffs on China's products coming in to the United States, and we're going to continue to stand strong till they open their markets and respect the private property rights of Americans. And then closer to home, you all remember NAFTA, right? NAFTA was signed in 1995, and Democrats for decades loved to complain about it. But Joe Biden and the Democrats never lifted a finger to fix what was wrong with NAFTA, as we literally saw thousands of factories closed across this country and jobs shipped south of the border. I mean, right after the election 4 years ago, literally the ink wasn't dry on Election Day when I heard back in the Hoosier State that another company that had been in my state for 70 years was going to Mexico. But when the man who wrote The Art of the Deal got into the Oval Office, America got a way better deal. NAFTA is gone, and the USMCA is here to stay. It is a huge win for North Carolina and a huge win for North Carolina workers. Now, you all deserve to know that Joe Biden's running mate, Kamala Harris, I had a little debate with her over in Salt Lake City a couple of weeks back. Thank you. But in that debate, I brought up the point that Senator Kamala Harris was one of only 10 members of the Senate to vote against the USMCA. She said it didn't go far enough on climate change. I mean, you just deserve to know, Joe